pop. So, as an elderly person who really has to rely on his phone for emergency services and all, I have three different services for my phone and my alert and my regular landline, so that if I have an emergency, I can try and get through to somebody to get rescued. But be that as it may, I was a good customer for a year and a half with Consumer Cellular. And then when all of the internet sites went to using Harry Potter's instead of still thumbnails, the bandwidth on the phone wasn't enough to handle it. And I got a really nasty notice from Consumer Cellular that I had gone over my bandwidth by 1 gigabyte, and that they were slowing the phone down, and that if I reached 30 gigabytes, the service would be terminated. So I was really shocked, being a pay in advance customer for a year and a half, pay on time and everything. And I called the lady up, who, by the way, said that she did not herself use Consumer Cellular because they didn't offer enough service. And I was paying $64 a month, which wasn't cheap, and it wasn't anywhere near the $20 or $25 that they intimate that you can get service for each month. And so when they slowed the phone service down, my phone became a boat anchor, because when you get to where the service is slowed down, the phone can't compete with other phones and computers that are using the internet. And so you get bumped off and you don't get any service at all. And that's where I was at with things that I needed to have done. So that being said, I called up and the lady had no understanding at all of what I was talking about. And she was very rude and nasty with me. Said that she didn't even use Consumer Cellular. And I told her, I said, well, that has nothing to do with me. I'm just trying to solve my problem. And she said, well, I don't like your tone. And I didn't use any profanity or anything like that, because my generation, we don't have to. We know how to carry ourselves. So I asked her when the best time to cancel the service was, and she told me that I could cancel it mid-month. And I said, well, I said, let me just go ahead and cancel it right away. And let me go ahead and cancel it right away and just be over and done with it. I'll eat the 2 weeks and be done with it, and I'll switch back to somebody else that I've been using for a while, for a long time. And so, in any case, they charged me for the full month. They charged me at the regular rate, no pro rata at all. I think they gave me something like $2 off, and they charged me for $20 for the 1 gig overage. And I contacted them again and again and again, trying to negotiate the final bill, which they sent to collection. And that's not something you do when somebody's trying to make a good faith effort to negotiate poor service. And if you go to certified reviews, you'll find that Consumer Cellular does not have the rosy endorsements from as many people as you would think, that they actually have a high rate of customer complaints about things. And the lady said, well, that's just the way they do it. And if you don't like it, get somebody else. And I was like, well, that's what I'm doing. That's exactly what I'm doing. But they went from Dr. Jekyll to Mr. Hyde. And now I get something. I get something in the mail that's kind of like if I want to repent and sign back up with Consumer Cellular, that everything will be rosy again, which I know isn't even true because once a company sends something to collections, they can't undo it, and they use the collections just to bully me because I'm the type of person I always like to keep everything paid up so I don't have any surprises. But I'll tell you, Consumer Cellular, when they have the commercial, which really is racist as anything, because in one commercial, this old white guy goes into a barber shop and the barber is African American. And he tells the African American barber, he's like, well, I guess you use a flip phone. And the barber looks back at him like he has some sort of problem. Like, no, I use a smartphone. I mean, I know how to use a smartphone. You know, I'm not using a 3G flip phone from the 1950s. Thank you. But the whole thing of the company is not only racist, but they're not who they say they are. They're not good people.